Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. This is the Daily Dave. A little bit of Dave in your day. I hope you're doing well. I got an email, which is bringing me to the microphone because I want to make sure that you're up to date on all things happening at one of the tools that I suggested earlier on in the How to Podcast series as a suggestion for you as a new podcaster, starting out with very little money on how you can build a website around your podcast. And that's Podpage. Now, I've recommended this. I've spoken to people who listen to the show who now use it. Thank you for following along on that advice, but I'm going to rewind and back away from Podpage as an option that I'm going to recommend in the future to the next person I talk to, which is you here today. For what reason, Dave? They've now taken away the free plan. There's no more free plan for us podcasters. And for me, with 7 shows, I am not going to be doing Podpage in the future. Their plans, and I'm looking at their website right now, at the time of recording, $12 a month for the basic plan, which gives you the basics, to be quite honest. Pro plan is $20 a month, and Elite is $35 a month. This is all in addition to your hosting plan if you go with a paid hosting plan. So I feel priced right out of the market on this. There's no way I can afford this for 7 shows. So I won't be using Podpage or recommending Podpage in the future. You're like, Dave, I followed your advice. Now I'm stuck with this. If you're going to continue with Podpage, again, they have some great tools, and you're going to go for the monthly plan, you can probably stop listening right now because I'm going to suggest something completely different as a better option for podcasters like me and like those listening who need some free tools to keep going in podcasting. Because again, we're new, we're starting out. So as I back away from Podpage, I have an option for you that I would suggest in as a better option, as a cheaper option, but still very effective. And I'm going to continue to fight for the podcasters who don't have a lot of money, which includes me. And I want to give you that tool. So if you're going to pay for Podpage and you're going to remain with them, great. There again, basic plan, $12 a month. Pro plan, $20 a month. An elite plan, $35 a month. There's a lot of options in there I don't think you really need as a podcaster. Really? And again, it's just one more fee. And if you decide to pay for the yearly plan, it works out to $9 a month, $15 a month for Pro, and $25 for Elite. So that's kind of how it is at the time of recording. Price is subject to change because it's no longer free. So there you go. Okay, so if you're like, Dave, I'm not paying that. I can't afford that. No way. I love my pizza too much. Okay. All right. I love pizza too. So I'm fine with that. So again, if you're going to stay with Podpage, no need to listen to the rest of this. But for everyone else here with us who, like me, this is not an option going forward, I have something for you. So what I would suggest for you to do is add a new website to your search or to your favorites or to your go-to place. And it is Podcast for Free, podcastforfree.com. Podcastforfree.com. So that's podcastforfree.com. Podcastforfree.com. What is that, Dave? Well, it just takes you to the How to Podcast series at this point, but there's going to be a spot there for free resources that will help you to podcast what? For free. Yes, because although some people will tell you that podcasting for free is a bad idea, those people are making money off the options like Podpage now they'll get a little kickback every time that they recommend you there. And if you want to know who that is, just go to the front page of Podpage and you will see a whole list of people who are getting paid to promote them. You won't see my logo there, by the way, because, again, so podcastforfree.com is the website, podcastforfree.com. Go there, and I'm going to have an updated list, updated daily, updated as things happen, like Podpage deciding that free support is not something they want to do in the future. I'm going to make sure I have links for you that work for you. Here's what's going to be listed there. I'm working on the website as we talk. I have 3 interviews today, so I'm trying to squeeze this all together, but I wanted you to have this as an option because, again, I recommended in the past, not in the future, Podpage to you. And again, thank you for listening for my advice and my feedback on the service previously. I'm going to have a list of things, including pod.link. Pod.link. Okay, that is a free version of what Podpage is kind of what they kind of do. And if you go to pod.link through a Google search, type it in the address line at the top of your page on your web browser, what you can do is search for your podcast. Now, keep in mind, you have to have a podcast that's live with an RSS feed, live in the world that people can access. So that requires 1 episode in a square artwork and an RSS feed host, which we've talked about in the past. I like Spotify for podcasters because it is free, and that will be your host for your podcast. So you need that all set up. We've talked about that. So once you have your podcast live and out in the world, go to pod.link, search for your podcast, and it will come back to you with a link to your podcast, which I've been encouraging you in the past to add that to your email address down in the signature. Also, you can link directly to an episode that's live, and by just clicking on any of the episodes listed for your podcast, that'll give you a link in the address bar across the top, all that gobbledygook up top. Copy that, and you can send that to your guest. You can send it out as a link in Instagram as a sticker, and those are links to that specific episode. Pod.link, and that'll be listed on the website, podcastforfree.com. So other things will be listed there are Audacity, my recording software, which I'm using right now. I also will include Canva, for example, the free plan on Canva, and more things like that. And there'll be a whole list for you there. And if you have any ideas or any tips on free resources that you use or recommend, let me know. Go to howtopodcast.ca or podcastforfree.com and use a little speak pipe there and leave me a message and let me know what free tool that you love that we can share with everyone listening. Because again, as a new podcaster, you do not need to spend this much money, oh gosh, to get your podcast out into the world. So again, like I told you before, podcasting can be done for free. I am a big fan of that. And again, like I mentioned before, with 7 shows, I can't afford $35 a month per podcast to have a tool that's added to what I do. As a free option, Podpage was great, but now no longer. So if you've followed me there and you're sitting there looking at your screen or reading that email going, Dave led me astray. No, Podpage led us all astray. So let's go somewhere better. Try pod.link. Try Audacity for your recording software, editing, mixing, and try Spotify for podcasters to host your podcast. That's all you need to get your stuff out there into the world. Canva's there. You can build your website for free. Look, there's so many options. I want to put them all in one place. Podcastforfree.com. It just leads you to howtopodcast.ca, just so you know. But that's the website, and I want to use it, and I want to get that out there in the world so that you and I can do our podcasts for free and focus on other things with our money than paying outlandish fees for services. Everybody wants your money. I want you to put your money back in your pocket and put your time and effort into your content rather than spending this kind of money to get your podcast out there. If you need any help with your podcast, we're going into the summer months now, and maybe it's your time. You've got some free time to start your show. Reach out to me, howtopodcast.ca. I will meet with you again for free to give you some insight, give you some thoughts, things to consider. You can always reach me anytime. I would love to talk to you. And again, enjoy this free podcast as we talk about all things podcasting and how to do it properly with a host that really does care that you have the tools to do it for free. Because I think you can, and I think you should. You can always go up from here. But let's try it for free first and see how we love it before we jump ahead. Okay? howtopodcast.ca, podcastforfree.com. How many more websites can I give you? I've got 25 right now, so there's a few to pick from, but let's stop there. Bye-bye, Podpage. Hello, pod.link. And hello to you, and thank you for listening to the How to Podcast series. This is the Daily Dave. I'll be Dave, and you be you. Talk to you soon on the next How to Podcast series. Cheers.